What if you could transform cards like Kefka, Sephiroth, and Emet-Selch for just 3 mana instead of their normal super high transform cost? That's what we're going to find out today. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Sephiroth, and today we're cheating on transform costs. We're heading to Final Fantasy Standard to play some Grixis Transform. In this deck, it's pretty sweet. It's got a plan to flip the most powerful, most expensive transform cards in Final Fantasy on the cheap, all for just 3 mana and a couple of life. So let's talk about this Grixis Transform G deck, what it's trying to do, jump into some games, and see if we can actually pull it off. So one of the coolest parts of Final Fantasy is this set has some really powerful transform cards, but their cards are really hard to transform because they have really high transform costs. For example, Kefka Court Mage. The backside is absolutely busted, is a 5/7 flyer that when an opponent loses life during our turn, we draw that many cards, so even just hitting with Kefka itself is going to draw us at least 5 cards. The problem is it's 8 mana to transform, which is just a huge amount of mana. Or Emet-Selch, so backside, absolutely busted. 6/6 Vigilance lets us play the cards from our graveyard during our turn. The problem is to flip it, we need 14 cards in our graveyard on our upkeep, or even just Sephiroth. Sephiroth, the backside, really good. When it transforms, we get the Blood Artist emblem. When it attacks as a 5/5 flyer, we can sack stuff to draw cards. The problem is we need 4 creatures to die in the same turn to actually get there. But what if I was to tell you there was a way that you could flip any of these cards for just 3 mana rather than their normal transform cost? That's what we're doing today. So here's the plan of our deck. We have all these super powerful transform cards, many of them which loot to let us get stuff in the graveyard, which is actually pretty important to our plan, because what we want to do with this deck is get Captive Weird or Blight Reaper Thallid. If you don't know these cards, that's fine. They're not even limited playable. They're super janky. But these cards each have a transform cost that is 3 mana plus 1 Phyrexian mana. So if we can get either of them in the graveyard and then exile them to Agatha's Soul Cauldron, which can give their activated abilities to our other creatures, what we can do is, like, get a Kefka down, exile a Captive Weird to Agatha's Soul Cauldron, put the counter on Kefka, then Kefka has the ability to transform using Captive Weird's transform rather than its own, which means for just 3 mana and 2 life, we flip Kefka, get Kefka Ruler of Ruin. Same with Emet-Selch. For 3 mana, 2 life, we flip around and get Hades. Or Sephiroth, we flip around to get Angel Sephiroth. So that's the goal of the deck. Loot these cheap transform creatures into the graveyard, exile them to Soul Cauldron, so we can flip these really busted Final Fantasy transform cards on the cheap. The rest of the deck, Rona Herald of Invasion, if you're missing out, gives us ways that we can stock our graveyard. Rona also a transform card, so another card that we can cheat on the transform cost. The backside, pretty powerful if it's only 3 mana. Cut down, go for the throat, give us a bit of removal. Mana base, pretty typical Grixis stuff with a bunch of starting towns at Creature Land, Quarry Mountain Monastery in the sideboard. We get some graveyard hate, a bunch of removal and sweepers for control, some discard and negate. And that is Grixis Transform cheat for Standard. And that's our deck for today. So let's jump into some games and see how busted a deck can be if you can flip Kefka and Emet-Selch and Sephiroth for just 3 mana rather than their normal ridiculous transform costs. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap up. Need some magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. Want to help out the channel? Well, you can snag these super sweet new dice, playmats, tokens, and more over at mtggoldfishmerch.com. It is time to do some transforming. We're looking to flip some of the spiciest, most powerful transform cards from Final Fantasy, all on the cheap, with the help of Agatha's Soul Cauldron. In this hand, I mean, I think Kefka's actually busted. I feel like Kefka's a card. Mark my words down. At some point during Kefka's life in Standard, it will be a staple, and if Kefka is not a staple at some point in Standard, that means that Standard is in an absolutely horrible place. Because this card it's so good. It's not super good against the all prowess mice meta, but once we get out of that meta, I'm pretty sure once you can actually play cards that cost more than 2 mana again, I think that Kefka is going to actually be really good. Opponent, I don't know what they're doing. Starting towns for days, and Phyrexian Fleshgorger, well, unfortunately, we cannot go for the throat or cut that down. We have 2 removal spells in hand, but neither one work against a Fleshgorger. That is awkward. Opponent gets in, hits us. Down to 17. All right, Captivating Weird. I think we're actually going to play it and flip it. This is one of our cheap transform cards that we want to Soul Cauldron, but I feel like doing nothing is pretty bad. Like, it would be nice to loot it away with Kefka. One of the things I've learned messing around with this deck is these transform cards aren't really that bad. Actually, you know what? I think it's even better not to transform it. Let's just put it on the battlefield. I don't know if we want to spend the 2 life here. Next turn, we can get the Kefka down. The problem with transforming is it impulse draws. We got to play the card next turn, and we want to play Kefka next turn. So if we hit something else that we want, but we don't want to play next turn, it's probably going to go to waste because we got to play the Kefka. Opponent cracks a Fable Passage. Gonna do a little Mountaining. Oh, Breaching. Okay, that's what we're up to. Breaching Dragon Storm. Well, spin it to win it into even more Breaching Dragon Storms. All right, spin it to win it again. Into something we can go for the throat, please. Opponent, Bloomvine Region. Okay, that's fine. I mean, fine in the sense that we can kill it, although it is going to let our opponent pick up both of the Dragon Storms and just keep spinning to win. Maybe Kefka can save us, though. Let's see the power. The power of Kefka is its ETB is like a 3-for-1 or something absurd. Like, it's so good. It's so good. Well, let's play the land. Kefka number 1. We will discard a starting town. We hope our opponent discards a non-land. So then, I mean, a Breaching Dragonstorm seems likely, right? You don't really need 2 of them. All right, opponent discards a land. So this Kefka, you discard 1, we loot. Opponent, Breaching Dragonstorm. Spin it to win it into, these Flesh Gorgers. It's funny on stream the other day. I was like, yeah, you know, really, someone's like, oh, could you print murder at 2 mana? Just straight up kill target creature for 2 mana. Oh, there's an Emmet. And I was like, we already got that, right? Go for the throat. Go for there. Yeah, I know it says non-artifact, but look at the meta. It's basically just murder for 2 mana. So sure, they could print murder for 2 mana. Well, we're seeing now it is very much not murder for 2 mana. Let's Sephiroth. I mean, we have our whole transform team on the battlefield. Sadly, we have not found a Soul Cauldron. I mean, we even got the Weird in the Graveyard. So if we draw Breaching Dragonstorm again, please don't be too brutal. Cruelty of Gix. Okay, so they can take our Kefka. Man, this Go for the Throat's so bad. It's so bad. If we draw a Soul Cauldron, we can flip. I don't know if it's fast enough here. Opponent gets in with the big... Oh, we could block with, like, everything. I guess Sephiroth and Kefka would do it. We're just going to take it. We're just going to take the beads down to 8. Draw even more cut downs. Well, let's get in. Do a little looting. We need to hit something here. So Sephiroth, no sacking. Kefka, we're going to discard this very sad cut down. And, okay, Carnosaur. So we get to draw 2. Oh, none of those cards really save us, though. Yeah, discard the Transformed Orc. They might have this one. It turns out that Phyrexian Flesh Gorger lines up pretty well with what our deck's trying to do. Are we just dead? Also, the Flesh Gorgers have Menace. I mean, I guess technically we can block one. Do we want to play another Emmet just to loot? It feels so bad. Yeah, let's just pass. Bone it. They also get to tutor here. I imagine, like, all they need to do is tutor up a removal spell, right? Tutor up a removal spell. Yeah, we do so many cool transform things. Our opponent spun into the right card, the card that we couldn't answer, and we just never found the Soul Cauldron. Spending a literal 8 mana, Breaching Dragonstorm, number 3. Spending 8 mana to flip Kefka so much. But 3 mana to flip Kefka, yeah, I think that does it. Oh, that was kind of brutal. Well, let's bring in the Duresses. Let's bring in the Cruel Claw Ice. Sadly, we don't really have a good removal spell for killing Flesh Gorger. I guess we can't do anything about that. Yeah, do a little trimming, right like that. Hopefully we get to see some of the shenanigans this game. All right, we're going to keep this. So this hand... We got the Soul Cauldron. We got the cheap transform stuff. There's a Kefka. Okay. Oh, I was going to say all we need to find is one of our big transform things. So we can use the Fear of Missing Out. Also worth mentioning, Fear of Missing Out really good with Kefka because Kefka cares about card type. So if you discard an enchantment creature, it's a way that you can guarantee a draw 2 at least. Well, let's get down the FOMO. You're going to discard this Weird. Draw a Monastery. Pass the turn. Are we going to be fast enough? Our opponent's deck is kind of scary. We know they can put big things into play. Well, let's get in with the FOMO. Hit ya. Down to 18. Play the land, and yeah, we're gonna get down, I think, the Soul Cauldron. Our opponent didn't see it last game, so I can't imagine they really sideboarded for it. They didn't see anything to suggest graveyard synergy, so I imagine they didn't bring in Soul Cauldron hate or graveyard hate. That would be unlikely. What do you got? Gonna kill the FOMO? Carnosaur the FOMO. Well, okay, that's kind of easy. We will exile the Carnosaur. Put a counter on the FOMO. Keep it alive. Find a Surveil land. Well, yeah, let's just play the island. Since we already have a weird in the graveyard, we can play another weird, flip the weird, and see what we can see. Impulse draw. All right, Swamp for next turn is good. I actually feel like Captivating Weird's not that bad, if you think about it. So it's a 1-mana 1/3 defender. That's not great. But then it's also a 4-mana in 2 life. 3/3 the impulse draws until next turn. That actually is like not that bad, right? I've been honestly like they're in the deck to transform our stuff for the synergy, but I've actually felt like Captivating Weird and even the Thallid thing, they're not that bad. They're not like exciting, but they're not as horrible as I expected. Well, that's Soul Cauldron, just exile from the graveyard. Opponent, our arch nemesis Flesh Gorger. Thankfully, we've got a Kefka, and if our opponent can't kill the Kefka, next turn we get to do the Kefka thing. Let's pitch this Thallid, set up for some more Soul Cauldroning, draw 2. I mean, when you think about Kefka, if it's your opponent discards 1 and you draw 2, and you discard 1, so you're plus 1 card essentially, that's a really good card. And if you ever get lucky and like have a double card type in triple, then it's actually kind of insane. Like, it kind of just becomes straight up busted. All right, opponent, can you stop the Kefka? Bloomvine Regent Terrain. Oh my god, we're gonna do it, aren't we? I think we're gonna do it. Opponent plays. I mean, they could have removal spell up. We're gonna go for it. Exile the weird. Counter on the Kefka, and it might be time for Kefka to get to its full form. We will use the weird's ability. 3 mana, 2 life. Let's flip it, and I think we might draw a few cards here, unless our opponent has removal. Get in. Can you stop Big Kefka, opponent? Opponent gonna block the FOMO. Oh god. Opponent goes, oh, we don't even, oh, okay, opponent goes to 2. We get to draw 9 cards. I was afraid we weren't going to get to draw the cards because our opponent was going to be dead. But thankfully, the life gain kept our opponent in it. And that is the power of flipping Kefka for 3 mana. There's a reason that Kefka's priced at 8 mana to flip. There is a reason for that. Same with Emmet needing like 14 cards in the graveyard to flip. There is a reason for those high costs. When you can flip them for 3 mana, they become insanely busted. And now next turn, we can just flip Emmet if we want to. And we're going to have a very... I mean, I guess next turn our opponent's probably going to die if they don't have a Wrath. Breaching Dragon Storm. Spin it to win it, spin it to win it. Opponent needs to hit something really good here. Well, okay. Okay, a tally. I imagine a tally is as good as it gets. 2 more spins for our opponent. Into Sephiroth in Push-Pull. Well, okay, so thankfully we have the Soul Cauldron. The push-pull would be a problem, potentially. Well, I guess they have to go from the same graveyard. Yeah, I guess, I mean, getting back the Flesh Gorger with haste for a turn might let them stay alive. But if they try to do it, we're just gonna Soul Cauldron it. Get rid of the Flesh Gorger. And I think this means it's just game, right? So opponent gets our Sephiroth. Yeah, opponent with the GGs, and, well, that's the plan of the deck. Flip the Sephiroth, or the Kefka, in this case, on the cheap, and pretty hard to beat. I don't think we want to change anything else. Let's just run it back. All right, on to game number 3. We are going to be on the play. Ooh, 1 land, 1 keep. 1 land. This hand's so good if we draw another land or 2. We're on the draw. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm tired of getting yelled at. We'll mulligan it. This one's for you, YouTube commenters. This one's for you. Well, we mulligan into a pretty good hand. Double discard's pretty nice. And also, I'm kind of an idiot. Should have played the tap land. For a brief moment, I drew the dress. I was like, oh my god, we're going to dress. But then I realized it's probably better just to dress later, give them another turn or 2 to draw into their Breaching Dragon Storm. Let's Cruel Claw Sized. Gift you a card. What are we working with over there? Push-Pull, Armadillo, Aclazotz, Bloomvine Regent, Trumpeting Carnosaur. Pretty good hand. A lot of expensive cards. So push-pull doesn't matter because we got Soul Cauldron. Bloomvine region, we know we got Forest, Carnosaur. I think it's Carnosaur or Aclazotz. Aclazotz we can also kind of answer. We can go for the throat and then exile it with Soul Cauldron. Yeah, let's just take the Carnosaur. I think that's fine. The rest of the stuff our Soul Cauldron handles pretty well. Opponent, Bloomvine Regent. So next turn we can like Duress plus Soul Cauldron. We could also just play the tap land to set up for Kefka in a couple turns. Yeah, let's do that. We can wait one more turn for Duress. They're probably going to play Aclazotz. Actually, they need a Black Source, don't they? We'll see what they play. All right, they find the Black Source, so I imagine they just play Aclazotz then. Aclazotz seems pretty good. Although, like I said, next turn we can Duress it, kill it, exile it. Opponent, Aclazotz. Well, we might as well exile the Armadillo. And then we're working on... Okay, so Kefka can come next turn. Let's Duress ya. Well, take the push-pull. So Armadillo, Atali. Atali is scary. Yeah, we'll just pass. We'll kill Aclazotz during our opponent's turn, I think. There's not really any reason to do it now. They're not a blue deck, so it's not like they can draw a counter or whatever. All right, opponent goes to combat. Well, let's kill the Aclazotz. I mean, maybe we can make them discard the Atali with the Kefka. That'd be sweet. So kill the Aclazotz, exile the Aclazotz. Do not want that coming back. And see what our opponent can do. Forest, and gonna run out a big old Armadillo. Do we want to thin the deck? I mean, we're playing Kefka. The only question is, do we want a Fabled Passage, discard the Shivan Reef, or do we want a Shivan Reef, discard the Fabled Passage? Yeah, let's do the deck thinning. Grab a island, and it's Kefka time, and we got the Soul Cauldron, although we haven't found one of the cheap transform creatures yet. Well, opponent discards a land. We also discard a land, so just to draw one this time. Wow, no Atali yet, no Atali yet. I guess they need exactly a red source. Their mana's kind of punishing them, so that not only do they need a land, they need a specific land. Opponent does not find it. Well, that's good news. Oh, there's a weird. How do we get the weird in the graveyard? So we get it with the Kefka. This means we got to transform post-combat, but this does get the weird in the graveyard. So get him with the Kefka. Definitely discarding the weird. Opponent, Atali, please. Did they? Oh, they held on to the land. Interesting. I guess because it wasn't red. Do we just run out Carnosaur? I guess that's our best bet. It's actually big enough to block. Our Tyrannosaurus Rex is big enough to block an Armadillo, thankfully. Just barely. Oh my god, if they ever draw red mana. All right, how about not a mountain, not a Fabled Passage? Cool, red mana, but not until next turn. Okay, well, we're gonna have a Kefka turn. We know our opponent can't interact with it. Exile the Captivating Weird. Do a little cheating on this transform cost. Oh, we could make our opponent discard if we just attack. We gotta draw a million cards. We can't pass it up. All right, Kefka, flip it for 3 mana. Opponent's probably got to trade, or else we draw 13. Flip Kefka's kind of ridiculous. About it. Blocks with the Carnosaur, sure. Well, we hit him for 6, which means we get to draw 6 with the Kefka. Deadly Cover-Up makes me feel a little better. That means even if our opponent does spin into something good with the Atalis, there's probably a pretty good chance that we can deal with it. Yeah, let's play the Monastery. Play the maybe Weird, and then we can Sephiroth the Weird, and then we can flip Sephiroth next turn. So sack the Weird, get it in the graveyard, draw a card. Even more Weirds, that's fine. Drain ya. Yeah, all right, pass the turn. We will discard. Discard the Blight Reaper Thallid. Same thing as a Weird, basically. All right, well, here we go. Opponent, Surveil Land. Gets to set up the flip for the Atali. What do they have on top? All right, does not want a Bloomvine Regent. Well, here we go. Spin it to win it, spin it to win it. What's the best hit in our deck? Probably Kefka, I guess. Atali into a Flesh Gorger and a go for the throw on our count. Oh, okay, that's concerning. Well, actually, no. That would be concerning. If it wasn't for the fact that we had our one-of sideboard Deadly Cover-Up. This Deadly Cover-Up probably wins us the game. Do we want to do Sephiroth stuff first is the question. Like, we'd play the Weird attack, but then our opponent gains a bunch of life with the Flesh Gorger. Yeah, we just gotta do it. Deadly Cover-Up, exile non-creatures. All right, and now we can exile the Atali from our opponent's hand too, which is kind of a blowout. So get rid of the Atali. Get rid of the Atali from our opponent's hand. Wow, 2 more in the deck too. All right, Atali's down is pretty good. No Atali, I mean, that is our opponent's big finisher. Deadly Cover-Up so good. I love Deadly Cover-Up. And we get some Sephiroth triggers. Ping you down to 9. Play the land, and yeah, let's play an Emet-Selch. Do a little looting. Pitch a starting town and pass the turn. I mean, next turn we could flip Emet and just like play our graveyard. Ooh, okay. Good draw for our opponent. Breaching Dragonstorm. Spin it to win it. Although, I feel like they can't spin it to win it as well as as they could before with the Itali's God. About it. Cruelty of Gex. Going to take our Kefka, I'm sure. Although really it doesn't matter. We can actually... Oh, we're going to see the full Final Fantasy combo. So, exile something for our opponent's graveyard. Doesn't really matter. We already got the weird under the cauldron. Put it on Emet-Selch. So what we can do now is we can flip Emet-Selch, which lets us play our graveyard. The backside of these Final Fantasy transform cards are absurd. Now I'm not sure what we do. We could play 1 Kefka. We could run out a bunch of cheap stuff. I mean, I guess we might as well get in with a massive vigilant creature. Hit our opponent to 2. I guess the Kefka's not that great here. Maybe we just play all the dorks this turn. So anything that goes to our graveyard does get exiled. And ooh, opponent with the GG. Opponent might just make the decision for us. Yeah, I think we wait on Kefka. We can get down the Sephiroth, and opponent scoops it up, and well, that's what happens when you can transform Emet-Selch for 3 mana. Pretty good. All right, it is Grixis transform time. We're playing some super spicy flip the Kefka Grixis Soul Cauldron action, and so it actually looks kind of great. I mean, we got a Cauldron, we got a Kefka, we got a Sephiroth. All we need is one of our cheap transform things. We need to find a Thallid or a Weird. We need to get Weird, and we even have ways to discard them. Authority of the console is okay. Oh no, are we up against a control deck? This might be a control. I don't know how control goes for us. Let's just play the Soul Cauldron. I'd really like to wait. Well, at least another turn. I don't know how long we can wait, but I'd really rather wait to get something good to discard before we fear missing out. It seems like kind of a waste if we just discard a land or a Sephiroth when we have stuff we want. More Authority of the console. Oh, there it is. Okay, well, that's why we were waiting. Now we get to FOMO. Pitch the Weird. Yeah. Opponent gains a bunch of life. Well, we will discard the Weird. Draw. Oh. Maybe we should have not played the land because of starting town. Would have been better played. Well, I guess the fast line would have come into play tap next turn anyway. Cool. Wow, they have some hate for the meta. Opponent really does not want to lose to Prowess. Double Authority of the console, or Mice. Double Authority and Exercise. Let's play Sephiroth. I don't think we're going to sack anything, though. We'd rather just keep beating down with the FOMO. Get our opponent all the way back down to 22. Really now, opponent? Day of judgment. Well, we get to drain him a little bit with Sephiroth. Play a land, and Kefka's pretty good here. I feel like all these cut downs and go for the throat's not going to be great. Yes, you get to gain some life. Come on. Discard something that lets us draw 2, not an instant. When Kefka draws 2, it feels great. When it draws 1, it's like, eh. All right, opponent discards a land. We draw 2 captivating weirds. More go for the throats. Well, let's get in with this Kefka. See, it's so good. It snowballs so well. Opponent goes down another card. We'll discard another go for the throat. Actually, we'll discard the weird this time. I don't think our opponent has a creature. Yep, opponent has a counter. We draw 2. So far this Kefka's been... We discard 2, our opponent discards 2, and we draw 4. That's a lot for 1. That's like a 4 for 1, and we're beating down with a big body. Yeah, I think we're actually going to play and flip a weird here. Our opponent could be slow rolling a counter. It is possible. Unfortunately, even though these Authority of the console is not really for this matchup, my God, are they gaining our opponent a lot of life. Well, let's flip this weird. Do a little flipping. Actually, 1, 2... how do we want to do this? 1, 2. We want to leave up the go for the throw. 1, hopefully in non-pain form. 1, 2, 3. I don't really know how much our life total matters in this matchup, really. Well, flip the weird. See what we find for next turn. Cauldron would be nice. If we can find a Cauldron and flip this Kefka, it probably ends the game. All right, Sephiroth. I will accept a Sephiroth. Sephiroth. Found it. Going to, draw with their counter. We played around counters pretty well. Getting down the Kefka was huge. Opponent Jace. It just made our opponent discard all the counters, so they probably wanted to hold. Finds a get lost. All right, well, I mean, Kefka emptied our opponent's hand. We're in a control matchup. We got 3 cards in our hand. Opponent's got 0 thanks to, seriously, just thanks to Kefka. Kefka's so, more cut downs. Let's get weird. Opponent, how do you feel about taking 3 down to 18? Well, we got to play the Sephiroth or we're going to lose the Sephiroth. Opponent, are we countering? No. Gonna gain some life. You know what? Let's just sack the weird. I want to draw a card. Ooh, Rona's not bad. Hit you to 19. Get down Emmett. See if we can discard. Probably this cut down is just... All right, want to find another no more lives. That's fine. Well, you're going, opponent. We're kind of just picking apart this control deck with our transform value. Transform too good? Well, crack the map on the Sephiroth. Okay, well, that is what we were looking for. That is the Soul Cauldron. Our opponent knows it's coming, but we can't do much about that. Get it with the Sephiroth. Down to 15. And I swear there's authority to the consoles. I feel like we've attacked our opponents so much, and they're still at 17. We've been attacking like every turn, but every creature we play is undoing. It's been like 2 of those is like having a permanent fog on the battlefield. It feels like, opponent land. I don't need something pretty big. Ugh, all right. Sure, relentless anchorage. Yeah, we'll let him attack with it. That's fine. We can take the 2. If they go to crack the map, then they'll be tapped down and we'll kill it. Opponent, gonna do a little mapping. Well, we found a way to get value out of this cut down. And we even get a Sephiroth trigger. Yeah, hit you down to 16. And I think it might be time to flip a Sephiroth on the cheap. No creatures on the battlefield. No problem. Well, let's discard the tap land. And, yeah, exile it. Weird. And, I mean, even without a ton of creatures, Sephiroth is still kind of insane. Put the counter on the Rona, since we already have one on Sephiroth. And, yeah, flipping around. Angel Sephiroth for 3 mana. Casual 6/6 flyer. Get in, hit you. We will not sack. And we get the emblem now, which is actually really relevant against control, because now if they kill our stuff, at least we're getting damage out of it. We're draining them as they, well, okay, not exercise. Actually, you know what? Let's go for the Throat Sephiroth to get the trigger. Plus it puts it in the graveyard. I feel like these go for the throats just aren't going to do anything, so we might as well get a damage out of it. Hit ya. Down to 17. Opponent passing. Well, speaking of transforming, let's transform a Rona for 3 mana. And then crack the map, and this should do it. I mean, our opponent needs another removal spell. And opponent scoops it up, taking down the control deck pretty convincingly, actually. Well, let's bring in our control stuff. 4 discard spells, a negate. Get rid of these horrible cut downs. Go down a couple of go for the throats. I imagine they have Meringue River Regent, so I don't mind having like a removal spell or 2, although I kind of would rather have Deadly Cover Up for exiling. Yeah, let's do it like that. All right, on to game number 2. Grixis Transform Shenanigans versus Azorius Control. I feel like Azorius Control. I feel like it's a deck that's really good if you're good at playing control. I feel like it's one of those decks where if you're kind of medium at playing control, you're probably not going to have a lot of success with it. But if you're a really good control player, I think you can have success in the current meta with a control deck. Well, let's get down the weird. This hand is kind of weird, honestly. We have 2 of our random flip things that we'd kind of rather have in the graveyard. Although, honestly, like I said, they're not that bad. Ooh, does that change anything? Duress. Yeah, let's just play the Surveillant anyway. Well, we're going to keep that Soul Cauldron past the turn. I like that the flip cards, they give us a way that we can kind of pressure without playing into counters. Like this turn, we could play a spell, our opponent could counter it. So what if we just flip our weird? Do you really want to kill our 1-mana defender? No. We get to draw a free land out of it. We get to hit you for 3. That is part of the power of captive weird of all things. Opponent with the Fountain Port. Well, I think the time has come to duress. We can even pay for No More Lies. Opponent. All right, opponent's got a negate. Sure. Well, in that case, let's Emmet. You have even more counters. Well, okay, they did have a No More Lies. Sure. Sure. Opponent of many counters. Well, I'll hit you for 3. Our weird is not pleased, opponent. Well, I mean, watch this weird go all the way. Watch our opponent actually just die to captive weird. That would actually be the best win possible with this deck. If we actually just kill our opponent with a captive weird. Fear missing out. How do we feel about that? How many counters can you possibly have? Opponent, not gonna counter the FOMO. Yeah, discard the swamp. Into another tap land. Well, let's get down the creature land. That could be relevant in the future. Pass the turn. Well, there's Meringue River Regent to draw some Magic the Gathering cards. Opponent's gonna need a Wrath, and they need the Wrath like kinda soon. We could have a two-turn clock with a counter from the Soul Cauldron. In practice, yeah, let's keep getting in there. Not gonna fire up the creature land. Well, I got it. Yes, we made blue-white control, spend a real removal spell and captive weird, and literally they know. We're playing a whole playset. How about another captive weird? How about if we flip to maybe, you know what? Maybe captive weird actually is just the best card in our deck. Move over Kefka. Move over Emet-Selch, whoever you are, Sephiroth. we're a captive weird deck now. That's a lot more lands that we didn't really want. Let's play the land past the turn. About it. And I mean, opponent's down to 9. They're down to 9. Okay, there's the Day of Judgment. Well, now we kind of need to draw something. And ooh. All right. Well, go Blight Reaper Thallid. It's your time to shine, buddy. We get to fire up the Restless Vensa, which is good. Get in, hit ya. Do a little looting. Get rid of the starting town. Draw, well, at least an untapped land. Hey, get a 7. Play the swamp, and yeah, let's get down Emet-Selch. And ooh, Kefka's good. Kefka we like. We'll get rid of the Soul Cauldron, sadly. All right, it is Janky Beats time. Can we get in 7 points of damage with our graveyard locked down by Rest? Another Soul Cauldron. You know what? Let's crack this map, I think. Crack the map on Emmet. You know what? We will keep even more Kefkas. I think just emptying our opponent's hand seems pretty good. Discard, probably just a Soul Cauldron again. We don't have enough mana to Kefka and pay for No More Lies, but we do have a backup Kefka, so I think it's fine. See if our opponent takes it. Down to 4. Well, play the land, and I mean, what else are we gonna do with our lives? I guess we can play and flip the Thallid. Yeah, let's do that. A little counterintuitive, but let's play the Thallid. We've had great success playing these janky transform creatures that are too bad to actually interact with, and now we get to flip it into a 3/3 that makes a 1/1. And this still is presenting lethal next turn, not exposing our Kefka to anything. Opponent needs some. We're going to take down the control deck. This one was kind of impressive. Like, yes, if we just flip our stuff, we can beat anyone. But piecing it together against control with our opponent locking down our graveyard to the rest in peace and keeping us from flipping anything. This was a Captive Weird win. This was straight up Captive Weird in Blight Reaper Thal. This is like, if you ever watch the NBA, and every once in a while there's like some random bench warmer that usually plays like 3 minutes a game, comes in and scores like 30 points and they win because of it. It's a Captive Weird game. The Captive Weird is that bench warmer, and our opponent scoops it up, take it out of the control deck. Don't need no Sephiroth here, don't need no Kefka. All we need is Captive Weird and Blight Reaper Thallid. All right, it is Grixis Transform time. We're trying to flip some Kefkas on the cheap, some Emet-Selch, some Sephiroths, all the cool Final Fantasy villains. Are they all villains? I don't know about Emmet. I think Sephiroth and Kefka are both villains. I imagine that the Emet-Selch or whatever it is also a villain. Ooh, Thallid. Okay, our best card. Opponent appears to be Rakdosing of some kind. We either play the Thallid or we just play FOMO and discard the Thallid. Get it in the graveyard in case we find a Soul Cauldron. Like, do we actually care about playing the Thallid here? We could discard something else, like a land. Yeah. Let's just get the Thallid in the graveyard. Getting the first one in the graveyard is especially valuable, because then we know once we find ooh, Dark Confidant, okay. Little Bob action. We're drawing a lot of lands at the moment. Yeah, let's swamp it and Sephiroth it. And do we want to sack a fear missing out? Probably not. Opponent. Bob's into monstrous rage. Come on now, opponent. Boo! Boo! And a face down card. Okay. Face down card. More Sephiroths. Awkward. And I was not saying boo Ernst. In case you were wondering. Get in, hit ya. And do we want to? Yeah, you know what? We need to draw something. Let's sack. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. That's a lot of lands. Yeah, I mean, next turn we get to play a Kefka, I guess. Play the land past the turn. Bob into a Burst Lightning. So is this just like Rakdos Prowess? Rakdos Aggro? Pyrotechnic Performer. So when something flips up, we take damage equal to its power. Okay. And wait. Oh no. No, Haunted Bone Brew. Oh, that's like a combo. Wait, we're at 6 now. Oh god. Okay. Okay. And I think we're actually just dead. I was not expecting that. Good lord. All right, well, let's bring in some more cheap removal. Haunted Bone Brew Pyrotechnic Performer. The combo. The combo is here. Yeah, we'll do a little trim and bring in some more cheap removal. And I mean, I think we win this just by killing their creatures, right? If we can just kill their stuff, then that doesn't happen. And then Kefka takes over. We win the game. Just got to kill him. Run it like that. All right. On to game number 2, Grixis Transform Shenanigans versus, I don't know, Rakdos Bone Brew combo? Kefkatron. Well, we have a go for the throat, though. Hopefully we hit lands. Last game we were drawing all the lands. This game, we would like to draw a few lands. Deadly Cover-Up's good. We'll see if it's good when we need it. Are we going to live long enough? Opponent. Land. They killed us pretty fast last game. But what are the odds they have Pyrotechnic Performer or Haunted Bone Brew? Like, there's not backups for that, right? It's not a very redundant combo. I don't even know it's a combo. It's probably just like an aggro deck that they happen to have that. Okay, Dark Confidant. That seems familiar. We saw that on turn 2 last game. This time we got to go for the throat, though. Ooh, and a weird. All right, now we're good. Now that the weird is here, life is good. Can you beat a weird? Opponent. Schwamp and face down card. Okay. Seeming even more familiar. Well, let's flip this up. Get a 3/3. It's a Surveil land. Well, play the Surveil land. All right, there's an untapped land. So at least we can Wrath next turn if we need to. Opponent, land. Pyro, no. This is literally the same exact draw. No, my goodness. 6 to the face. Well, play the land. We got a Deadly Cover-Up. They had this exact. Oh, we take 3 when it died. Maybe our opponent's deck is busted. What is this Haunted Bone Brute card? And a Lynx, and we're dead. Well, our opponent just won there against the odds. Their deck looks sweet. Jeez. Time to flip some Kefkas on the cheap. We're not paying 8 mana for that. That's way too much. 3 mana. We would rather pay 3 to flip our Kefkas. Sand seems fine. I mean, we got a Captive Weird, so obviously S tier. Not mulligan that. And we got some removal, which, my god, that last match. What happened in that last matchup? Haunted Bone Brew. Well, land and Captive Weird. Is Haunted Bone Brew good? I still can't get over what happened to us in that game. Well, FOMO's not bad. That gives us something we do on turn 2. Oh, is this Prowess? Might be. I don't know what we want to discard here. Either go for the throat or cut down. Yeah, let's go for the throat since it's a more expensive one. Well, there's a starting town. That's going to help us get to Kefka. Okay, not Prowess, so that's nice at least. Well, there's our Thalid. Yeah, let's just flip this. See if we can hit a land for next turn. Plus, we get to aggro in for a bit more damage. Oh my god. It's a Lightning Helix. That is the one downside of trying to flip these cards, is if our opponent does kill them in response, we don't even get the Captive Weird card. So maybe our opponent's Jeskai control. Is this another control match? Well, Emmet's not the worst. The real prize is getting down Kefka and picking apart our opponent's hand. Well, get in with a fear missing out. Hitcha. Down to 19. Play the island and, yeah, get down Emmet. Discard the Thalid. We kind of want that in the graveyard anyway. Opponent seems to be thinking. Oh, Dispelling Exhale. Okay. Oh, Jeskai Dragons, maybe? If you're playing Dispelling Exhale, you're probably Dragons. That probably means we should have discarded Cut Down instead of Go for the Throat, actually. Although we didn't know at the time. Opponent land, turns on their Verges. Opponent's going to get lost, the FOMO. Well, it's Thallid time. I can't believe we're playing this card. Get down the Blight Reaper Thallid. Limited, 13th pick, probably. I was going to say All-Star, then I was going to say Playable. But then I realized I'm not even sure it's limited playable, come to think of it. Arona. All right, grow the Thallid. We really just want to land for Kefka, please. Untap land for Kefka. Go for the Throat. Yeah, I got to mill it. Well, it's a big Thallid, at least. Opponent, survey a land. That does seem like something his shoulder would do. All right, Visa. Opponent gets to draw a card. That's a good one. There's an untap land. Well, it is Kefka time. We will discard this cut. Well, let's discard the Thallid. Let's discard the cut down. I don't know. I don't know which you're more likely to discard. Probably an instant, I guess. Ooh, enchantment. Okay, we'll take it. The Kefka draw 2 into the Agatha Soul Cauldron, which means if our opponent taps down, you know what, we're just gonna take it. There's probably a Wrath coming. All right, Ultima, sure. It was, ooh, wow, okay, another Kefka. Well, that is about as good of a draw as we can find. Play the Kefka. We're gonna discard the Thallid. There's no way they're discarding a creature here. I would be shocked. All right, Dispelling Exhaled out. We draw 2. Play the Surveillant. Opponent's only got 1 card in hand. We have an Emmet. Okay, multiple Transformers coming, opponent. Joshua. Pretty good, pretty good. But you gotta pay a lot of mana to flip that. We do not have to pay a lot of mana to flip our Kefka. Egg of the Soul Cauldron. Exile the Captive Weird, and I think it's time to draw a few cards. And I'm pretty sure this attack just wins us the game, right? In this control style matchup, we're gonna draw 6 cards. Our opponent's got 0, literally 0 cards in hand. We Kefka'd all their cards away. Now Kefka flips, hits him for 6. We draw 6. And how do you come back from that? How do you come back from that? Play the land, get down the Blight Reaper Thallid, pass the turn. Opponent can flip their Joshua if they want to. Flip Joshua is pretty good, but it's nowhere near as good as Flip Kefka. Opponent burns us down to 9. Well, how many Final Fantasy Mythics can we flip in one game for 3? Oh, another Kefka. Discard the tap land, and opponent realizes Emmett's about to flip. We get our whole graveyard and scoops it up. Well, let's bring in the control stuff. Duresses, negates, cut downs. For sure. And then maybe a Rona's fine. Trivia Sephiroth can be all right as well. Let's run it like that. I will say I think Sephiroth is the weakest of our transform cards in the deck because we're not really... Emmet and Kefka are both just like good value mid-range cards. Kefka's a little more specific, but still, if we flip it into like a massive 6/6 flyer and sack our Thallids or whatever, it's still good. Plus the other upside is if we flip it, we get the emblem. And the emblem's actually really powerful, even if we're not built around it. Just like having a Blood Artist that can never die every time our opponent kills something, it's almost like having Super Meat Hook Massacre on the battlefield. Well, opponent, we have a gift for you. Cruel Claws Heist. Do a little peeking. All right, opponent's going to Dispelling Exhale, sure. And opponent, I can imagine there being some sort of Grixis discard deck. Ghost Vacuum, all right. Well, that does shut down our shenanigans. If we can just hit our lands, though. I mean, we got 2 Emmets. Let's play an Emmet. We really just want to get to Kefka and empty our opponent's hand. I think that's our primary plan here. Well, there's the land. We still need red mana, but discard Emmet number 2. Little awkward that our opponent gets to get it under their Ghost Vacuum, but yeah, opponent eats the Emmet. Wow. Opponent misses their land drop, which is good. Let's get in with Emmet. Now we'd like an untap land. Ooh, Duress. Okay, Duress is also good. Let's discard the tap. Yeah, let's discard the tap land. I really don't want to give them a bunch of goodies to get back with Ghost Vacuum if we can help it. Opponent to 18. Well, that's starting town. Yeah, let's just Duress. We'll save the Cruel Claws Heist for the future. Opponent's got to have a handful of non-creature spells. I mean, they missed their land drop, so... And they aren't playing that many creatures. Ooh, okay, that's a win. We essentially Duress the 3 steps ahead, which we will take it. That's probably what we would have taken anyway. Although our opponent must think it's not what we would take, or else why would you spend it if we're just... I guess you protect the information, but... Wow, opponent, still no land. We do find a land. Well, let's get in with Emmett, see if we can get our opponent to tap down. We probably are just going to start Kefka-ing, though. Hit you down to 16. You know what? Let's be patient. Let's Cruel Claws Ice first. Let's Cruel Claws Ice. See if we can finally see what our opponent's working with. Opponent draws a card. Hand is, okay, Dispelling Exhale, Shiko, Exercise, Will Leaf Leash. Well, take the counter. Our opponent is going to get a free Will Leaf Leash at some point. We could have taken the Will Leaf Leash to prevent that, but let's run out the Sephiroth. Not going to sack anything. Yeah, Will Leaf is pretty good against Sephiroth, I guess. Oh, what I was saying earlier, I imagine there could be some sort of discard deck with Kefka. There's a lot of good discard stuff in Standard. I could see this being a good finisher. Found it. Gonna, oh my god, Lightning Helix away the Sephiroth. Well, Kefka time. We can discard the land. We know our opponent's going to discard Will Leaf Leash, so we should be getting a draw 2 out of it at least. Our opponent does get a free 4/4. But what do we care about 4/4s? We got Kefka and Emmett. Also nice to have Dispelling Exile. There will be a time sooner or later where having that is going to be valuable. Opponent gonna exercise the Kefka, sure. And, oh, River Church. Okay, so opponent's a mill deck. How close are we to being dead? Not that close. I mean, what do we want to discard? Play the land. So we can play the Kefka, discard the FOMO, draw 2, and leave up the Dispelling Exhale? That seems pretty good. This might actually be a game. This might actually be a game where we do the fair flipping of Kefka. I mean, we are up to 8 mana. That is not our plan. But we are up to 8 mana, so we can just... Come on. No removal. Oh, tell me you didn't top deck opponent gonna mill us. Okay, mills a couple lands. I mean, we gotta go for it, right? We gotta go for it. I mean, we are shields down with our counter. Let's get in with Kefka first. Do a little looting. See if our opponent does anything. Lightning Helix. Well, that does make us spend the Dispelling Exhale. If we don't do this, though, we just lose the Kefka, and we don't have a backup. I was hoping to make our opponent discard their last card. Does make it worse. Well, pitch the Emmett. Draw Blight Weeper Thallid. Well, hit you down to 15. And yeah, let's play and flip the Thallid. The Thallid is pretty good with Sephiroth. It does give us fodder. Actually, do we just play the Sephiroth? Yeah, let's just flip, I think. Actually, I guess we might as well pay full price because of starting town. Saves us a life. Flip the Thallid. Get a little 1/1. So we do need to be cautious about our opponent exhausting the River Churn Monument, although because they need to exile stuff from our graveyard with the Ghost Vacuum, it's a little bit of a non-bow. Opponent, gonna mill us. Sure. Our graveyard's pretty full, but not deadly full. Monastery, eh? I'll play the land, we're gonna go for it. Kefka, flip it. Did you top deck? Another removals. Wow, they did. Come on, Magic Gods. Well, opponent's still gonna sack something, so that's good for us. At least we still get that value out of Kefka. It does make it, I mean, it's still pretty painful to pay 8 and have it die, but at least we get a bad edict out of it. Well, let's crack a map, see if we can get this big enough to attack through the... yeah, let's mill the weird. Actually, do we keep the weird? Yeah, let's mill it. I think we'd rather find something more high impact. And, yeah, get in with the Thallid. Thallid game. It's a Thallid kind of game. Hit ya. Well, now we don't got to worry about the monument anymore. Our opponent's one win con that we've seen. They'd be so dead if they didn't have the Will Leaf Leash. The Will Leaf Leash is slowing down our beats a bit. Found it. Draws, passes. Play a Sephiroth. We're never going to be able to do the Soul Cauldron thing. We're going to have to get really lucky, I guess, to do the Soul Cauldron thing. Although playing Soul Cauldron kind of makes them not use their Ghost Vacuum. Double Soul Cauldron. Well, Sephiroth, sack the dork. Hit you to 10. Play the Soul Cauldron. Yeah, let's get in with the Thallid. I'm telling you, these janky transform cards are actually not that bad. They're actually not that bad. Crack the map on the Sephiroth. One thing I will say that I've been impressed with this deck, yes, the shenanigans with Soul Cauldron are definitely the coolest and most explosive thing. But it turns out Kefka and Emmett and Sephiroth are just good enough cards. And also, don't forget Captive Weird and the Thallid. but they're just like good enough that we can actually win fair games. Like this is an opponent's good. Like we ended up having to play fair against the control deck, and we just ground them down with our Grixis stuff. It is time to do some transforming, and this hand seems a little bit sketchy, but you know how I feel about Captive Weird. It is our best card. Can't mulligan if we have Captive Weird. Found it. What are we up to? Ooh, Spyglass Siren. Okay. Sure. Well, we have a cut down for that, and now we'll go for the throat. Let's play the Darkslake Shores. Pass the turn. Land for about it. And Inti. Well, we have a cut down for that. That one's gonna have to go. Let's see if our opponent discards. We're kind of fine with them discarding here because they can't use the card anyway. Opponent hits us for 1. Yeah, we'll cut down. There's actually some debate over which one we use there because cut down's more efficient, but I'm afraid they're like an Oculus deck or something. Well, now we wouldn't have to worry about it now that we get a Soul Cauldron. Well, let's flip the weird. Get our 3/3. Draw us a card. Please not Kefka. Okay, go for the throat. Sure. We can use that for something. Killing the Spyglass isn't like super important at the moment, but better dead than alive, I'd say. Fear missing out, sure. Gonna do a little rummaging. Gets rid of a, Mako. This might be Oculus. Something in that vein. Well, okay. Now we have something better to go for the throat. Get rid of the fear missing out. And do we just get down the Soul Cauldron? Actually, let's be conservative. I have this big fear that they're gonna like discard an Oculus, reanimate an Oculus. And if they do that, Oculus just puts you so far ahead. I'm really worried to go shields down, but apparently they're not doing that. So let's waste our go for the throw down a 1/1. I'm over my fear. I'm over my fear now. Now that they're cracking the map, it makes me feel like they're desperate for a land. Prophetic Memory, sure. All right, they were ooh, and a Kefka. Play the Surveil land. See what's on top. Keep the Fabled Passage. If we play the Emmet, we're just gonna discard the Fabled Passage. Yeah, let's just play Soul Cauldron. Soul Cauldron, if they do end up doing Oculus things in the future, I think that's enough of a reason to leave it up. We could get in more damage just by exiling now, but this is a nice hedge in case they are doing Oculus shenanigans. Well, Prophetic Memory is a scary card. It is a very good card. They might be able to start making a big board. The good news for us is, or a big creature, the good news for us is we've reached the Kefka stage of the game. I really, truly think Kefka is going to be a standard staple. I really do. And if it's not, I'm scared about where standard ends up. I feel like the only reason it's not a staple yet, opponent Tursa. Triggers Prophetic Memory, makes it huge. Are we getting in with Tursa? No. Well, let's exile Inti, I guess. Counter on the weird. And yeah, let's get in. If our opponent blocks, we can exile something else and trade. If they don't, then they're going to 3. And then we bolt them. You got to play around the bolt. Wow, they are going to play around the bolt. Okay, well, we will exile, yeah, I guess a FOMO. Get those types out of the graveyard. Kill the Tursa. And it's Kefka time. Do a little Kefka-ing. And we'll just discard the Fabled Passage. They're not discarding a land, right? Because they've been missing land drops. So ooh, there's the weird. Okay. Can we do the thing? 1, 2, 3, exile. So we can actually do it pre-combat next turn. We can play Emmet, discard the weird, exile the weird on Kefka, flip Kefka, draw 6. Steam Core weird. All right, we might not get to draw, because now our opponent can chump block with the Steam Core weird, but still, we can do the thing. Agatha Soul Cauldron is actually really good. The fact that it's random graveyard hate if we run into Omniscience, or you run into Oculus, things like that. Double weird. Yeah, that's frightening. Opponent got us while we had our Cauldron tapped down. Now let's do what we came here to do. Emmet. Discard the weird. Draw, ooh, a cut down. Oh, that's actually even better. Because now as long as we hit an untapped black source. Well, let's see. See if our opponent chumps. If our opponent doesn't chump, we could hit an untapped black source. for cut down to kill the seam scores while they take it. Okay, we will draw 6. Opponent's just gonna try and kill us. And there's a swamp. Okay, that's actually huge. So now we're set up, we can kill the smaller Steam Core Scholar. And then next turn we can flip the Emmet if we want to. Well, we can't kill that one. That's actually a good one. Man, our opponent was so close to being dead. Yep. Gets rid of the big Kefka. Gets in. Well, let's cut down the little one. I think this is fine, because what we can see the full power of the transform plan. So Emmet, normally you need 14 cards in your graveyard. However, what if we just flip it for 3 manas instead? So Emmet, flip Emmet. Emmet lets us play our graveyard. We have enough mana, I believe, that we can now go for the throw, get rid of the big Steam Core Scholar, pay the ward, get back the Kefka, and I mean, we gotta be good now. Yep, flipped him. Oh, Emmet flipped is so good. Oh, it's so good. Bring in, maybe a Cruel Claws heist. We might not change a ton, really. The Filgray Silexes seem reasonable. At least in some number. Yeah, maybe something like that. Good enough. I guess this is just Jeskai, Prophesied Memory. Is it an Oculus deck? I would assume it's an Oculus deck, but I haven't seen an Oculus, so I'm not actually sure if it's an Oculus deck. Ooh, all right. Well, I know I said I never mulligan hands with Captive Weird, but no landers are an exception to that rule. Plus, really, you know, Captive Weird has been way better than I thought. Like, when I put it in the deck, my plan was, okay, we never flip this card. It is purely to let us do the transform shenanigans. But then I found out I actually flip it quite a bit. So, you don't really keep hands just because it has Captive Weird. But the point is, ooh, turn 1 Mako is kind of scary. But the point is, it's not just a throwaway card. It actually is a little better than you think. Oh, that's a really scary start. Mako into Prophesied Memory, draw a card, grow the Mako. We do have a go for the throat, which is something. Oh, do we have to worry about counters? I kind of want to get more value out of it. We're going to wait. Hopefully they go all in on growing this Mako, and then we can kill it. Found it. Land number 3. We definitely... Oh, Steam Core Scholar. All right, this one's looking a little sketchy. A little bit scary so far. Gonna do some drawing and some discarding. So we're hoping they just put the counters on the Mako, I think. They're gonna go Scholar. All right, I think we're still gonna kill the Scholar because in theory we can chump the Mako. We do need to draw lands though, or this is gonna be over soon. Well, yeah, all right. Not a land. We'll get down the Soul Cauldron because we have nothing better to do, but missing a land drop's always been pretty bad in Magic, but I feel like in the current era of Magic, where games are just so fast and cards are so powerful, missing a land drop early, my God, is it hard to come back from. Like, even one turn, like missing one turn of land drops, boy, it's tough. And if you ever miss, like, and they abrade it, I'm sure. If you ever miss, like, 2 turns, of, like, if we miss another land here, I don't know how we're realistically getting back in it. Found it. More Makos. Gets and hits us. Okay. All right. That's a land. That's a land. Well, now we can Emet-Selch. Do a little looting. Ugh, not a land. Well, get rid of the Kefka. I think we're playing towards Deadly Cover-Up at the moment. Just like chump and survive long enough to hopefully hit our lands. Inty. Hopefully hit our lands and then just get rid of everything and go from there. Gets in with the Mako, triggers Inty. Discards, grows everything. Which they actually wanted. Yeah, down to 6. Yeah, that missed land drop turn. That missed land drop turn is gonna get us. Well, fear missing out. Discard the Thallid. Is it a land? Okay, it's a starting town. Well, pass the turn. All right. I don't know if we survive. If we do, we need to draw an untap land right here, right now. If we draw an untap land and they don't have a counter, then the game continues, although we're still going to be in a really fragile spot. If we don't draw an untap land, it is on to game 3. Opponent triggers Inty, hits another land, pumps their stuff. Well, block the Sharks. Actually, we should do it the other way, right? Yeah, I think we take less damage this way. So Emmet on the Trampler, FOMO on the non-Trampler. So this way we take 0 in theory. All All right, do we draw an untap land? That is the only question that matters. Opponent, land, and more creatures into our opponent. Not the right time for a fast land. They sharked us. On to game number 3. Yeah, let's bring the Torch to Towers. And the Filgray Silex if we can find room. I don't know what to cut though. That's the hard part with this deck. Like we need the transform stuff. We need ways to get them in the graveyard. We need our big payoffs. Yeah, let's try it like that. All right, on to game number 3. And I mean, we got no Soul Cauldron, but this hand's pretty good. Rona into Emmet into hopefully Kefka. Well, let's lead on the Surveil land. Keep the starting town past the turn. Well, at least we're not going to be missing land drops this game. Opponent, Spy, and we're not facing down a Mako, which is good. That Mako was a fast clock. Really, the Prop's Eidetic Memory deck, really good. The problem I see with the Prop's Eidetic Memory deck is the difference between having Prop's Eidetic Memory and not having it is so huge. Wow, opponent, quick Sheltered by Ghost to get rid of the Rona. All right, well, eventually, oh, okay. I was going to say eventually we can go for the Throat It, but, well, now we can immediately Torch the Tower It, get back our Rona. That seems even better. Plus, that keeps our opponent from gaining a bunch of life. And that's one Shelter by Ghost down. But yeah, if you could always have Prop's Eidetic Memory, I think this deck would be busted. But when you don't draw, you have a lot of these like filtery creatures and Winter Night Stories and stuff that just don't really do much if you don't have a Prop's Eidetic Memory. Well, let's Torch the Tower. Pay the ward, get rid of the Spyglass Siren. Get back Rona. Honorary Final Fantasy legend Rona. I don't know what game Rona was from. I also don't know. I know the Cloud Sephiroth, you know, that whole relationship thing. Not sure about Kefka and Emmet and Sephiroth. I don't know if they're related in any way. Well, that's Rona. Flip. What are we pitching? Kefka? Yeah, we have 2 Kefkas. We can pitch a Kefka, I think. Kefka's so good. I hate, even with 2 in hand and it being legendary, I hate to discard it just because it's so good. But, well, it's playing on it. Untap Rona. I might as well discard the starting town. We already have good color fixing. And pass the turn. So as long as we hit an untap land, and we get a couple of shots at it, so we should. Opponent, Steam Core Scala. Gonna do a little looting. Much, I mean, when you have Prop's Eidetic Memory, my god, that card's scary. Because that's like a 4/4 Flying Vigilant, and you gotta have removal for it. Without it, though, it's just a 2/2, and you're kind of like, okay, sure. Like, yeah, you played a Windrake, you did a little filtering. Mountain for our opponent, and gonna crack the map. I imagine they're hoping for a counter here so they can block. Well, there's an untap land. I guess that means we gotta pitch Sephiroth, sadly. Opponent finds a Mako, mills the Mako. Double go for the Throat's nice, although we are going to have to discard one of them. Actually, I guess we can, it's a free loot. We don't have Soul Cauldron, so we might actually just want to loot just to get closer to flipping Emmet. So I think we are, yeah, let's just Rona loot. Whew, all right. Well, discard to go for the Throat. Awkward. Now I kind of wish I didn't loot. Are we discarding the Soul Cauldron? Oh, I don't think we can discard the second go for the Throat. We don't have a cheap transform card anyway yet. Well, in the end we found another go for the Throat anyway. We'll get it with the Emmet. Keep working on film. Maybe we can get. Oh, there. Okay, there's the Captive Weird. Although we don't have the Soul Cauldron, so now we need the Soul Cauldron, or we just need to keep playing Magic and we can flip the Emmet that way. Opponent blocks, sure. I mean, we're getting close. We're getting close. We're like halfway to flipping an Emmet. Glacial Dragonfire. Well, that can kill the Rona, I guess. Discards a Mako. Oh, they're going for Kefka. Interesting. Double removal spells? Kefka's so good at demands 2 removal spells. Well, that's good for us. Man, that Kefka's it's just so much value. Even that, like, how many cards did Kefka take from our opponent's hand? Like 3? And it drew us a card. We'll keep the Torch the Tower. Pitch the Emmet. I mean, actually, I'm glad we have so much removal. I feel like just having a million removal spells. Yeah, I'll pitch another Captive Weird. I feel like just having a million removal spells is is probably pretty good in this matchup. If we can just kill their stuff, and they're at 22, so it's going to take a minute. But if we can just kill their stuff and keep beating down. And Emet's getting close to, can we flip Emet next turn? I think we can. So opponent blocks, so we can torch the tower, the Steam Core Scholar. Pass the turn. I mean, once we flip this Emet, I think it's over. That's like drawing 14 cards. Well, there's the profs. Opponent found it. Prof's eidetic memory. Is it in time, though? Nothing on the board, and we got the removals. Fear of missing out. Sure. Some looting. Yeah, I mean, we're going to cut it down anyway. Cut it down. Loot with Rhoda. Oh, discard. Deadly cover-up. So this puts us at, what, 13? Yeah, we're actually just going to kill Rona. I think it's worth it. We need one more card to flip Emet. So if we kill the Rona here with a go for the throat, we could just recast the Rona anyway if we wanted to with Emet. So I think it's... So Emet flips at the beginning of your upkeep. So you can't activate Rona in response. Yeah, flip Emet. The old-fashioned way. And yeah, now we drew 14 cards. We probably just Kefka, though, don't we? Yeah, let's just Kefka. But it's only got 2 cards in hand. Actually, I guess we could play the land first, so then we can play a Steam Core. Or not a Steam Core, a Captive Weird. An opponent, not going to wait around, and scoops it up, and, well, that is Grixis Transform. Kefka's sweet, and flipping it for 3 mana is especially sweet. And we're ranking up. Sweet, sweet. So what do we learn this week about Grixis Transform cheating in Standard? And record-wise, we went 6-3 with the deck, so a 67% win percentage, which is obviously very solid win percentage. More importantly, the plan worked almost exactly like we drew it up. We got to see a lot of really cheap flips of Kefkas and Emet-Selchs and Sephiroths, and the backsides of those cards are so powerful that they take over the game really, really quickly. And with our best draws, we can be flipping these cards super early in the game, and they're really, really difficult to beat. So the Soul Cauldron Transform on the cheap plan worked really, really well. And one of the things I love about this deck is we can also play it fairly. Obviously, the most explosive thing we do is the quick flip of Kefka or Emet-Selch or whatever when they get the Soul Cauldron. But if our opponent brings in a bunch of graveyard hate, we can just play our deck fairly, like a weird Grixis mid-range deck, and it's still functional. It's still actually pretty powerful. I gotta say, Kefka in specific, that card blew me away. I am fully convinced that at some point, Kefka is going to be a standard staple. Like, it might not line up with the top of the meta right now just because Mice and Prowess are so aggro and it does cost 5 mana. But once the format slows down a little bit after the ban list update, maybe after rotation, I fully believe Kefka is a standard staple level card. You need Grixis to be good, but that should be doable. Black mid-range decks tend to be good in standard, but I was just blown away at how strong this card was, coming down fairly. Like, yes, when we flip it, it's busted, but even when we don't flip it, a lot of times it comes down. Our opponent discards a card. If we think it through, we discard a card that our opponent's unlikely to discard the same type. We end up drawing 2. We discard 1. Our opponent discards 1. So just the ETB is kind of like a 3-for-1. And then if we attack, we get to do it again. Plus, there's ways we can cheat on it. Like discarding a Fear of Missing Out is an enchantment and a creature. If our opponent discards like an instant or a sorcery, we can end up drawing 3 from a single Kefka trigger. So Kefka felt really busted to me. The other thing I wanted to shout out, and this is the part that I didn't really expect from the deck, are 2 cheap transform creatures, Captive Weird, Blight Reaper Thallid. These are the cards that let us do the transform trick, and honestly, when I put them in the deck, I was thinking, okay, we like basically never play these cards. We just try to get them in our graveyard, exile them to Soul Cauldron. Why do I want to play a Captive Weird? Why do I want to play a Blight Reaper Thallid? But it turns out that both of those cards are actually like kind of fine. Like playing them fairly, I'm not saying they're good or anything, but they were less bad than I was expected. The number of times we actually just like played a Captive Weird and then spent 3 mana and 2 life to flip it into a 3/3 and impulse draw a card was actually way higher than I thought. Even Blight Reaper Thallid, it flips into a 3/3 and leaves behind a 1/1 token when you transform or when it dies, which gives us lots of fuel for Sephiroth. So I was surprised at how often I was like playing and flipping Captive Weirds fairly, and I came away from it feeling like maybe these cards aren't really all that bad. Like, if you think about it, a 1 mana 1/3 with Defender, not good, but a 4 mana and I guess 2 life 3/3 that enters and impulse draws, That's actually not that bad. Or Blight Reaper Thallid ends up being 5 mana for a 3/3 that makes a 1/1 and another 1/1 when it dies. Not exciting stuff, but actually not that bad. So all in all, I absolutely love this deck. If you want to play with the backsides of Emet-Selch and Kefkas and Sephiroth, I think this is the way to get it done. The deck felt pretty competitive. It does spicy things, and getting to see the backsides of these cards in action was really cool, because as much as I've seen Kefkas and Emet-Selch and Sephiroth in Standard, it's actually kind of rare to get to see their backsides. But with this deck, we get that done really consistently. So that is cheating on Grixis Transform. That's our deck for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.